And welcome back here to the Farmington Community Civic Center. And boy, oh boy, what a first half. I said it last week against Cape, and the Knights only had a 2-point lead going into the break on that one. They had to fight back. In this one, that hasn't been the case. They've only been down once, and that was all the way back at 9-8. From there, the Knights would go on quite a run. And right now, we're sitting at 28-12 here at the half.
And it's been a pretty impressive defensive display for the Knights, which is something that you and I have talked about all year long, Aaron, that the Knights have struggled in, especially from the perimeter. And they only allowed 4 points there in the second quarter.
And, you know, when you look at it, you know, the Broncos have put up several wide open looks from three. We've just gotten lucky that we haven't came across a team like Cape Notre Dame. Cape Notre Dame we had a ton of trouble against, and it was there at our own house. We left them with a ton of open shots, and there were about 3 or 4 of Cape Notre Dame's players that could really stroke it from three, and they did it all night long, and it really cost us, and it came right after that loss against Potosi the week before. So, you know, you talk about really hitting a low. That was probably the low point of the season, and there was nowhere to go but up, and since that game, that's exactly the direction that we've went in.
Well, and basketball is a game of matchups. You look at the individual defensive matchups as you try to guard people, you look at who can take their man, who has an advantage, and as you said, what we've run into the last couple of games are teams that do not shoot the three ball extremely well, and that has played to our strengths, which is not really so much talented individual players, but great team play, and then usually every game there's one player that steps up and sort of outshines the rest, and right now that's Garrett Callahan, I would say.
Yeah, looking across the points tonight, Garrett Callahan's leading the night with 9 points. For the Knights following him, surprise, surprise, Jonah Barnes on the bench. Once again, 0 points in the game against Cape. Only 2 points coming off the bench in that game, and those both were from Brett Mann. He does have 2 tonight as well, and Justin Bain. So a total so far of 11 points off the bench after 2 from either team in that game Wednesday night. Looking aside from there, DJ Hardy has 3. He's got 1 3 on the night to add to those that he had the other night.
And the Knights are now 16 minutes away from the Final Four in Columbia, Missouri.
Absolutely crazy. Also, Logan England with that big 3-point play that he made down there in the post. That made the score 26-10. And we're about ready to bring you back here. 8 minutes are on the clock, and we're about ready to start the third quarter.
28-12 lead for the Knights. And as I spoke with Callahan just before the game, he could almost not even talk, couldn't even get the words out of his mouth as Pollo gets a quick 2-pointer there for Bayless, but he couldn't quite get the words out of his mouth there as he was a little emotional talking about the opportunity to go to the Final Four. So we'll see if the Knights can play this out here in the second half.
You know, as you said, that was the opportunity to go to the Final Four. It'll be interesting to see what he's like after the game tonight. And that shot missed by Pratt as he's trying to work down inside. Triplet going all the way, gets the pass off. And the Broncos making a quick statement here, 28-16, the Knights with a 12-point lead still.
And that's the third block of the game for Bayless as someone was down low on the post looking to go in for a layup. And so the Knights are going to have to be wary of that and keep in mind who's behind them and who's around them.
And Ankrum that time with the look, it's no good. So the Broncos with the chance here to cut into that lead even more. He goes down the lane. It's no good, but I believe the foul was called on the floor. And the foul, I believe, is going to be called on 24. Callahan, that's his first of the night. Now looking to the Broncos in their first half, they're scoring only between 3 players. Lemetovich with 7, Harris with 3, and Pulo with 2. Working the base that time was Pulo, trying to put his second bucket in of the half so far. He's unable to. Callahan with a short jumper. It's up, no good. Rebounds tipped over to Pratt. And Pratt is able to hurdle the barrier there on the far side of the court.
Normally that's a shot that Callahan makes, not just in this game, but overall. And so hopefully that's not a sign of things to come.
The shot didn't look too bad. It just went off the back iron. So 28-16 to score once again. 6:25 on the clock now. Broncos with the possession. Gets it inside to Memetovich, and he puts in the easy look. So the Knights
And there's a quick timeout by Callahan as the Knights have already allowed 4 points in the first 2 minutes than they allowed the entire second quarter.
The entire second quarter allowing 4, now allowing 6. In the first, they allowed 8. So they have managed to keep single digits in both of the first 2 quarters. And already looking like that might not be the case here in the third. 6:16 mark, so not even 2 minutes off, and 6 points on the board for the Broncos.
Callahan told me that this team does like to run. They like to get up and down the floor. And so that means that more than likely they're going to be a team of runs. They're going to go on these quick bursts here. And the question is not whether or not they'll go, but whether or not the Knights will respond and how will they respond. So hopefully they'll come back here, slow the pace down a little, and get a good shot.
You know, and looking at a team like Cape, that's the same thing with Cape. The Knights were able to manage it, but there were some times, and especially in the fourth quarter, when there were some lapses that allowed Cape to get back in the game. That ball nearly stripped away from Ankrum. Ankrum holds on to it, gets the pass over to Callahan. A nice job by Jordan Ankrum to recover that time. Pratt tries to wrap inside and ends up drawing the foul in the process. That foul is going to be on Pulo, and that's going to be his second foul in the game.
And that was a great job by Pratt, head faking and waiting just long enough to where he would draw the foul. And Jordan Ankrum, though, just before that, he has had a couple of plays now up at the top of the key where he's put the ball on the deck and has almost had it taken away, or it has committed a turnover. And so he's going to have to be conscious of that, and Callahan's going to take him out pretty quickly here as Ankrum is not playing well offensively.
You know, and talking about the course of the season and free throws sometimes being a problem, that's been one of the biggest problems for Eli Pratt. Luckily going 1 for 2 from the line, make it a total of 3 of 5 on the night overall for the Knights. 29-18 the score, 5:40 left on the clock here in the third. Triplett with the ball, going hard forward, and it's going to be the charge call against Triplett. Triplett not agreeing with the call, and he's going over to talk to the official. And
a great job by Logan England to step in front there and gain position.
Triplett being held scoreless, and a player, as you said, going to Brown University, a prospect-type player being held scoreless. No doubt that there's going to be a little bit of anger that could come as a result of being held scoreless. Hardy in the corner. It's always one of those times when you see Hardy in the corner, you might end up seeing some fireworks come from that side of the court.
I almost hold my breath every time he gets it out there.
And speaking of that exact thing, give it to him! Give it to him, are you kidding me? The senior stepping up once again, making 32-18 on Hardy's second three-point shot of the night.
And he's now 6 for 8 in the last 2 games.
Absolutely amazing. And a turnover, Callahan behind the back. He's got a chance to take it himself. He does. Puts it off the glass. It's no good. Rebounded by the Knights. Brett Mann, he puts it up and in. Holy cow, the Knights doing it all over the place. Give them another set of points off the bench.
And as I said, it's a game of runs, and the Knights have now responded to Bayless's quick run with one of their own.
The Knights extending it back out to their largest lead of the night, 16 points, 34-18, and nearly another turnover. England not able to grab it before it goes out of bounds. And Bayless looking to make a quick substitution, and coach changes his mind. It was going to be number 2 of Bayless, Victor Dang, but instead he swaps it out.
And Logan England almost got a steal there. He's got one of the quickest first steps of any player we've seen this year, no matter what team it is that we've played.
Now, the word quick in Logan England is something that we've said all year long, and yes, all year long, because in soccer, you would be able to say the same thing about him time and time again.
And he's a guy that's going to probably play college soccer somewhere if he wants to. So he's an extremely athletic, very quick player down the court.
And another turnover. This one stolen away by Mann. A great job working on Mehmetovic there in the post.
And that's what Mann's going to have to do. He's not big enough to hang with Mehmetovic down low. He's going to have to front the post like he did and look for those steal opportunities.
Now, how many times have we said that exact sort of thing, Marcus? He did exactly what he needed to do in these past 2 games. We said it time and time again, and it couldn't be more true. We're watching a team that has made several mistakes all year long, and all of a sudden, they've looked completely different here in these past 2 games.
We're watching a team that could not stop Potosi from scoring the basketball. and they've allowed 18 points here halfway through the third quarter in the quarterfinals of the state Class 4 tournament.
Absolutely amazing. The game before this one going on between Dexter and Battle, and you talk about a lopsided victory. Dexter had that win pretty easily, and hopefully the Knights could continue to build on this and get a similar look. And as I say that, England able to steal the ball away. He's working it all the way down, gets the shot up, trying to go for his second and one of the night. Instead, he'll go to the line for 2. Those are his only points on the night, are those 3 from that three-point play that once again made the score 26-10 and gave the Knights their first 16-point lead of the night. This time, Logan England looking to extend it once again to the largest lead of the night for the Knights. The first free throw up and no good.
And that's at least 10 or 11 turnovers now for Bayless, and the Knights have played very well defensively. And Jordan Ankrum comes back into the game now for Eli Pratt. And something to watch is he has not played well in the first half or really quickly here in the third quarter of this game, as the Logan England rattles in the second free throw. And so the question will be, will Jordan Ankrum contain his emotion and dial it in here and keep it under control if he's going to go down low against guys like Mehmetovic and not get any more quick fouls.
The Knights going with the zone this time around, and they are being able to hold off the scorers of the Broncos pretty well all night long, and that's Triplets' first points with that pull-up jumper, make it 35-20. Cuts it from 17 to 15 now, 2:35 left to go here in the third.
That was pretty tremendous defense. That was just a great shot there with Triplet made.
And when I was looking at through some of the different points of this Broncos team, you know, not much to be known about them. Between the two teams, there aren't really a whole lot of common opponents.
Callahan drives to the lane, gets the 2.
And that's his first point since the first half, giving 11 of the 37 for the Knights on the night. And as I was saying with the Broncos, you know, one thing that don't see too often is what we just saw there. Triplet now starting to try to take a little bit of this over, and he scored from deep that time.
Well, and he saw that the Knights were going to give him that three-point shot, as he can tell that the defense was instructed to let him shoot. And so he just pulled up whenever he got close enough to where he thought he was in range, and that was even deeper than DJ Hardy's 3 the other night.
You know, I've got to say, you know, when you look at the stats of this team, 3 points not one that you necessarily have to watch out for. But when you get into this time of the year, some lucky shots fall, as we saw from DJ Hardy the other night. That pass across the court, it's a dangerous pass, but the Broncos able to get it off. And it's going to be a very, very light foul call.
That's another foul on Jordan Ankrum.
It's his third already. Don't expect a substitution anytime soon, though. Trying to give Eli Pratt a break. Mehmetovic nearly pulling up with the shot. Instead, he goes all the way down, gets the shot up, and it's an over-the-back call. You are right. Mehmetovic not happy, and he gets the tee. When you show any sign of emotion, especially in a big game like this one, that's exactly what you can expect. And Callahan looking over to his dad, trying to figure out who the free throw shooter will be.
I'm assuming it'll be Garrett that'll take the shots.
So it's his second personal foul, and add another one because of the technical foul.
And these are big just for momentum's sake. We haven't shot well from the free throw line, but to hit these that we have, Callahan takes the first. You want to hit these technical free throws because they're momentum builders, so especially for a shooter like Callahan.
Callahan 2 for 3 on the night, and he's going to keep it at 50% with this trip, so it'll be a total of 2 of 4. Looking over the course of the night, the Knights right now 5 of 9 from the line, so just barely over 50% right now, and just not the free throw percentage you want to see in a big game like this. Luckily, once again, it's not costing them at this point. 15-point lead. They've got some room to make a couple mistakes. Let's just hope that at the free throw line will be the only place that the Knights make those mistakes. The ball goes over to Barnes, and Barnes started to try to look for the baseline run. Instead, he pulls it back out on top. The Knights are going to be patient with this play series.
Well, and they've continued to take the air out of the ball, take their time, and take good shots, and a great look for Ankrum down low. England was not able to get position.
Knights passing the ball around, and we're starting to see And down underneath, you got to be kidding me. Jordan Ankrum, what are you thinking?
And I believe Mehmetovic just won the Oscar for the Best Supporting Actor.
Well, it's a little bit of both there. Mehmetovic clearly shoved Ankrum down on the court, but Ankrum made the horrible mistake. It's the thing that we always talk about in sports. The person who reacts is the person that's going to get in trouble, and that's exactly what happened to Ankrum. Ankrum livid right now, and continuing to see that on the bench. Might not see him come back into this game tonight because of that fourth foul. Triplett with a deep look once again. It's rebounded by Mehmetovic. Mehmetovic starting to take it. Could have gotten the travel call. Instead, he puts a series of shots up, and instead, it's another foul by the Broncos, and that's number 22, Pulo's third foul.
And from this point on, the entire second half, with 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter, the Knights will be in the bonus as Bayless has committed 6 fouls already, and that'll be big going down the stretch.
Well, you say it'll be big, but with our trips to the line over the past 2 games, they haven't been too pretty, and that might not be a bad thing for Bayless going down the stretch. Callahan starting to carry it down instead, pulls it back out. 9 seconds on the clock, 7 seconds. England with the ball, starts to take it down, gets the pass over to Pratt. And the pass ends up being fumbled around. The Knights nearly end up with it. Instead, Triplett grabs it, and that'll be the end of the third. Good grief, what a back and forth, crazy into the third quarter. Knights able to maintain their lead. It's 15 points, so they only dropped 1 point. But looking at the total scoring, that's the Broncos' first time to get double digits in a quarter. So the score right now, once again, 38-23. At the end of the first, it was 12-8. The Knights extended that lead by a significant margin in the second quarter, and that being highlighted by a 3-point play by England. And as I've been talking about that, the 6th man is feeling it tonight. And I can't wait to see if the Knights are able to hold on to this over the next 8 minutes of play. Once again, they've got a 15-point lead. Broncos only scoring 23 in the first 3. So percentage-wise, you would love to give the Knights a pretty good percent chance of pulling this one out tonight, but you never know what can happen in high school basketball. Well, if the Knights do go on to win, though, it'll be interesting to see how much of that 6th man makes the trip up to Columbia.
Well, and that was a kind of a little bit of a tough offensive quarter for the Knights. They got a lot of good shots, but their shots weren't falling as much as they have been the first few quarters. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes here in the fourth quarter. But one thing that stayed true, and as I've often heard, when your offense goes cold, can you still win a game? And defense travels, as they say. And the Knights played very well defensively, creating several turnovers there again in the third quarter for Bayless.
Luckily for the Knights, they're getting the ball out of the break, so they'll have a chance to extend on that lead. They were able to score 10 points in the third, so in each quarter they have scored double-digit points. And as I said just a second ago,
and Coach Callahan has obviously told his team to take the air out of the ball here as we start the fourth quarter, to do what they did against Cape and against in the second half against Central, to look for the wide open shot. Otherwise, just pass the ball around and be patient. When
you've got a 15-point lead, there's not really a point of doing anything else. And nearly traveling with the ball that time. Instead, he is able to hold on to it, and it's going to be a kick ball violation against Jonah Barnes. It's going to be Bronco ball out of bounds.
And if you're going to hold the ball like that, you want to get a quality shot, because otherwise you're just taking time off the clock. Well, and that's no good.
Taking time off the clock's not a bad thing when you've got 15-point lead, though, and they were nearly able to take a minute off. Brett Mann trying to post up. He does a great job defensively. And, you know, when you're talking about a guy that definitely outbalances him in the size ratio, Mehmetovic definitely the bigger player there in the post. Brett Mann, once again, doing a great job defensively.
And Mann's been an energy player all year long. He's come in and given the Knights a spark off the bench. And that's been his job tonight, as Jordan Ankrum has struggled getting foul calls and not shooting well. Mann has been a player who's come in and played extremely well.
Jonah Barnes pump faking with the shot. And not surprising to see him hold on to that on Callahan, trying to bring it down. Instead, gets the ball tipped out of his hands. It's fumbled around.
And that's another
Broncos
turnover.
Are able to recover. It is another turnover, a minute and a half off the clock now here in the fourth.
That's 2 turnovers in as many possessions.
Mehmetovic with the rebound and putback. That's an easy couple of points for him. make it 38-25, 13-point difference. England bringing the ball down court quickly for the Knights. Gets it over to Barnes. Barnes out on top to Brett Mann. Mann started to pull in to take the shot instead. Holds on to it. Gets it inside to Pratt.
Good decision by Pratt to pull it out.
Yeah, definitely a good decision not to try to force anything once again. The Knights, though, not being able to get their open looks like they were able to against Cape right now, but a quick foul call that time by Mehmetovic.
And that should be 4 on him.
It's actually going to be his third. He didn't have a foul going into that technical, so it's a total of 3 on the night. I misspoke on that one earlier.
He already had 1. But, yes, they're in the bonus now, and so this is a way that the Knights can put this game away, as whether or not they're shooting well from the field, they can put it away at the free throw line. And
as we said, one of the Knights with the most difficult time at the line has been Eli Pratt, but he sinks the first.
And those are big for a player's confidence. If they can get a couple of shots going from the line, it makes the hoop look a little bit bigger when they're out on the floor with an open look.
And that time it was plenty big around 40-25, extending it back out to that 15-point lead. So the Knights have not lost any of their lead here through the first 2:15 in the fourth quarter. Mehmetovic with the turnaround jump. It's up. It bounces around. It's no good. Rebound pulled in by Mann. And Mehmetovic not happy at all right now and makes it a point to come over and collide with Brett Mann real quick. And nothing's called in the process of it. The official might have said something to him, but Mehmetovic, as he gets to the side, slams both hands down on the chairs, and he is edging closer and closer to a possible other technical. And
that would get him removed from the ball game.
It's something that when you look right now, he's the leading scorer for the Broncos. So if you want to absolutely hand the game over to the Knights, go ahead, get that other technical called on you real quick.
Well, and the Knights have allowed, Bayless has only scored just over what Mehmetovic's season average of scoring all by himself is, and only allowing 25 points.
Yeah, it's one thing that you look across this game, and it's been an absolutely crazy second half. Both teams playing pretty closely on both sides of the floor, and we got so used to it there in the first half. The Knights just making several sets of plays that were perfect for them, and it's just not kind of following through this time. And you could see that the Bayless team all around, coaches, players, Triplett, sharing a few words with the officials. And when I say Triplett, I mean both Coach Triplett and Patrick Triplett out on the court.
Well, and Brett Mann, a guy who, and there's a bad cross-court pass by the Knights.
And doing that against Triplett, the foul's called on the floor. He did get a nice little jumper off. I don't know how he managed to get it to fall down, but he did. It'll be a foul called on number 4, Logan England. It's only his first, so definitely no trouble there. Jonah Barnes is going to be coming out, and Ankrum will come back in, and he'll post up against Mehmetovic. And a couple of things could be going on there. Ankrum, a tough physical player down low in the post, and as I say that, he's able to find a way to get the pass to go off of him. And it's really just a bad pass by Harris, and Harris follows that up with a foul. So
it looked like Ankrum wasn't paying attention, and he tried to take advantage of that, and Ankrum turned around at the last second to catch it.
Ankrum was just really trying to make sure that he had good position against Mehmetovic. In the process, though, the ball goes off his foot. The Knights are able to recover, and Harris follows with the foul. So it's the 8th foul already, and it'll send Brett Mann to the line for a 1-and-1, 5:20 on the clock.
Well, one thing that's interesting is that Coach Callahan has not gone with his starting 5 all at once almost the entire second half. There's been at least one sub, one bench player in the game for almost the entire third and fourth quarters.
Yeah, it's been something that we didn't see a ton of the other night. And Mehmetovic playing tough. And who's going to draw the foul? Jordan Ankrum. And get ready.
There you go,
watch
Jordan.
for some fireworks. Mehmetovic is not going to be happy about this. And he's speaking with the official already.
And Ankrum not scoring tonight, but using that foul to get fired up, as usually it's a quick rebound and a putback that gets him fired up. On a night like tonight, drawing the offensive foul is a pretty tremendous play at this point in the game with 5 minutes to go.
5 minutes to go and the 15-point lead. That pass nearly tipped away. The Knights have got to make smarter passes when trying to break this press. And in the process of saying that, it's going to be England going to the line.
And when Bayless jumps into the press there, One thing the Knights have to remember they did not do there is the way you beat a zone press like that. It looked like Bayless was in a diamond and one press. The weak spot is the middle. You have to have a player run to the middle of that zone to break it. And the Knights were just passing it around the outside and really got bailed out there with a foul, as it looked like they were going to have some trouble getting it across the half-court line.
And the Knights once again having problems from the line tonight. England misses his first, but he sinks his second, make him 3 of 5 on the night. Now looking across, Pratt has actually been the best free throw shooter. He's went 3 of 4. Callahan 2 for 4, and Brett Mann missing his one and only. So not horrible by any means, not like the other night for the Knights, but still not the free throw percentage that you would be looking for in a big game like this. But once again, luckily it hasn't cost him. Mehmetovic with a three-point look, he'll sink it in.
Well, and just as I spoke earlier about not having all the starters in, for the first time in the second half, all the starters are now in the game at the same time.
Well, and not a bad time to do it. Really, the point of that is making sure that you've got everything set up and you've got a healthy set of starters down the stretch, and the Knights are definitely going to have that. It's the 4th foul now on Pulo, and we haven't seen him come out of the game much, so no doubt he's a critical piece of the starting 5 for the Broncos. It'll be Hardy at the line, and it's going to be his first trip to the line tonight.
And the Knights are in the double bonus now for the remainder of the game. And if there's a guy you want at the line, if I'm putting my money on someone on the Knights team, it's going to be DJ Hardy, as he's the guy who's had the shooting stroke the last 2 games, as he's gone 6 for 8 from 3 over the last 2 games.
Hardy set for his second. It's up and rattles around the rim, rebounded by Mehmetovic, and no doubt that Mehmetovic is probably near that double-digit rebound total that he's had all season long.
And Mehmetovic now playing outside, running the point. He's pretty much trying to do everything he can to will Bayless on here to catch back up in this game, as they're down 14 with 4:15 left to play.
And the Broncos being patient, it's kind of a surprising thing to see considering the score. But they are passing it around the perimeter quite a bit. Mehmetovic charges all the way down, tries to put it up. It's no good. And it looks like it'll be a foul on Eli Pratt when Mehmetovic gets the rebound and goes back up. So add another rebound on the night to Mehmetovic. And it's the first foul on Eli Pratt tonight. And Mehmetovic has had a good stroke, so I would expect him to be a decent free throw shooter. He's went 1 for 2 tonight. That one rattles around, no good. So make it 1 for 3 from the line.
Well, and he's definitely reached his season average in rebounds, but the Knights have done a pretty tremendous job on him and Triplett in the scoring department.
Triplett especially. When you look at the night, Triplett actually missed a couple threes. He had some good looks, but the one and only 3 he hit was the deep one, so he's got 5 points on the night.
As Jonah Barnes is now in the game as Mehmetovic makes that shot, and DJ Hardy goes to the bench as Coach Callahan is rotating his players very quickly, and a quick steal from Bayless.
And a nice job by Pratt that time around getting the block down in the post. And that'll give the time for the rest of the Knights defense to get set up. A big shot by Triplett. It's no good. And rebounded by Ankrum. He ends up colliding with a couple of Broncos at the same time, but the Knights doing a good job now in transition. Gets the ball down the court. Pratt with the trap. And now Callahan trying to bring it down, and he starts to come down inside the lane, and in the process gets fouled by number 2, Victor Dang. And that is his second foul just in the past few moments on the court. 3:30 left on the clock. The Knights still with the 13-point lead. And Callahan with the chance here to extend it back out to the lead that they had at the beginning of this period.
Well, the Knights are going to need to make some free throws here as they've lost the 2 points to their lead. And as Callahan misses hard off the back iron in the first free throw, but they're going to allow Bayless a chance to creep back in this with 3.5 minutes if they don't start hitting some free throws.
And just as you say that, he misses another. So make them 2 of 6 on the night. A 33 free throw percentage right now. Mehmetovic with the runner. He gets it to fall.
And so now it's only an 11-point lead as Bayless calls a timeout. Excuse me. A little bit of a confusion there from the refs. I believe believed the coach was calling a timeout.
And in the process of it, he makes sure to give Mr. Fitzwater an earful. And he had 6 on the court for a second, so plenty of confusion going on right now by the Broncos. And it'll be Hardy that will come over to inbound the ball for the Knights now. He gets it into Callahan. Callahan's got a couple of defenders behind him. Callahan gets fouled in the process very, very quickly, and definitely got to be by design.
Well, and that was a great play by Callahan to run to the middle. That's the weak spot in the press, and they finally got there to the middle. But DJ Hardy was subbed in there for Eli Pratt strictly for free throw shooting purposes.
First one's up and in. Callahan pulling up his free throw percentage on the night. He's now 3 for 7. Callahan's second is up. It rattles around once again, rebounded by Mehmetovic. Give Mehmetovic another rebound. Who knows how many he has at this point. And it's going to be a foul called on number 24, Callahan.
And he was riding down the court, and the Farmington fans didn't like it, but that's a foul that'll be called, especially in a game like this where it's been close to getting out of hand. And Brett Mann comes back into the game now for DJ Hardy. Brett Mann's a guy that would play guard on almost any team that we play. Instead, here for the Knights, he plays down low.
And Triplett takes it all the way down. A fast set of points that time. Callahan bringing it down, gets a pass over to Jonah Barnes. Barnes spins around, gets it back over to Callahan. Callahan across the court and turns it over.
And the lead now only 10 with 2:54 left. The Knights are going to have to calm it down as Jordan Ingram waving his arms, trying to encourage his team to calm down, slow it down, take your time. They're only 2:50 away from the Final Four.
And the killer part right now are the number of missed free throws. 8 missed free throws on the night. And just as I say that, Jordan Ankram's going to commit his 5th foul. So Ankram will have an early exit, and Mehmetovic will go to the line. He's 2 of 4 tonight. Coming into the game for Ankram will be Pratt. And Ankram not happy at all. Walks off the court for a second. He makes a quick trip back on. He's just completely frustrated with himself. He's had a couple of bad games between the game against Cape and the game tonight here against Bayless.
And the lead is now single digits for the first time since the beginning of the third quarter.
Actually, beginning of the second quarter, they had a 16-point lead going into the half, so you're going to have to go all the way back to the second quarter since it's been a single-digit lead for the Knights.
And Coach Callahan subs DJ Hardy in again for free throw shooting purposes. I assume Eli Pratt will take this ball out and get it to one of the other 4 guards.
Second shot up from Mehmetovic. It's in and make it an 8-point difference. So definitely a pressure cooker now. England gets it down to Hardy. Hardy starts to bring it down and gets the block foul called on number 22, and that's going to be his 5th foul. So he'll come out of the game.
Well, and one thing that most people don't understand is that they think a press is designed to get a steal. And a press is not so much designed to get a steal from the offensive team as much as it's designed to speed them up. The defense wants to speed up the offensive team, get them running down the court, playing kind of frantic, and maybe then they'll throw a ball away or take a shot they shouldn't. And it looks like the Knights are playing right into the hands of Bayless at this point. And DJ Hardy was able to draw a foul there, luckily. But the Knights are going to need to take their time, slow the ball down, look for a guy in the middle of that press, and when they get it across half court, they're going to have to do a better job of not picking up their dribble, as that's caused them a lot of problems here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, more than anything with that press, they're trying to make the Knights make mistakes, and Hardy's been perfect from the line tonight. He's 2 of 2 now. Excuse me, I misspoke there. Make it 2 of 3. Forgot to mark down on the stat sheet that he missed his second earlier this evening, and second one's up and in, so make him 3 of 4.
And Brett Mann comes back into the game as Coach Callahan is now going offense for defense here on every possession that he can. So that's the reason Hardy's in the game, is to hit those shots.
Spread the difference back to double digits now. Triplett bringing the ball down the court for the Broncos.
Well, and you're not
looking inside to Mehmetovic. Mehmetovic not able to handle the pass. It'll be a turnover. 2:27 on the clock. Knights with the 10-point lead.
And you're not going to want to continue to give Bayless the wide open threes, as they're going to have to start taking them. And here toward the end of this fourth quarter, Farmington's going to have to extend their zone out just a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm noticing something now, Marcus, when we're at Poplar Bluff the other night, one of the things that we saw.
I believe that maybe Mehmetovic, is that Mehmetovic's 5th?
I believe so. We'll see if the call is on him, and I believe it is. Give it to Mehmetovic. It's his 5th foul, and that'll be 2 different Broncos fouling out, and this time it's the big one. Mehmetovic, the 6'4" senior who's been the leading scorer tonight for the Broncos, fouling out. And no doubt about it, that one's huge. He's pulled in a ton of rebounds, so going forward, the Knights should have a slight advantage on the boards.
That's 2 Broncos starters, not just players. That's 2 of their starters. So
Pratt's first up, and beautiful. That's something that we haven't said too often this season, but 4 of 5 from the line. Pratt not scoring anywhere else on the court tonight, but from that very spot. His second one up and in, and make him 5 of 6 from the line. So after a horrible night at the line last week, Pratt really carrying his team along with Hardy as 2 of the top free throw shooters. A pass, turnover, 12-point lead, 2:08 on the clock.
And Pratt's best night from the line all season, I would guess, if you were to look at the back of the stat sheets. And Callahan wants a timeout here as Farmington's getting some momentum. He's going to want to calm them down here, and I imagine in this timeout, he's going to remind them how they got here. And how they got here was taking the air out of the ball, looking for the wide open shot, and executing. Not looking to score necessarily, not getting the ball, looking to drive, but taking their time and making the extra pass and looking for the wide open shot. And if they can do that for the next 2:08, they will go to Columbia, Missouri, where only the Knight girls have gone one other time, I believe.
They went twice. They went in 2007, 2011, very similar between those 2 teams and this team. All 3 teams really spending a ton of time together, and it's a group of seniors that are leading the way in each of those 3 years, and that's typically going to be the case. Now, when you've got some schools such as the Chaminade up in St. Louis, who just is a basketball powerhouse for years and years, or when you've got a player like Tyler Hansbrough, top D1 recruit that's going to be able to lead your team, and not just a top D1 recruit, but someone who's going to play low in the post and just dominate all season long. You know, Poplar Bluff made a run with the Hansbrough brothers for several years, got a few state titles in the process. You know, the Knights, when you look at their team overall, you know, there's a couple of players that could definitely play college ball, but you're not going to put any of those in the category of Hansbrough. And to see a possible trip to Columbia come for this group is very, very special. Pratt with the ball, spins around, gets it over to Hardy. The Knights doing a great job of draining time off the clock. 1:50 on the clock with a 12-point lead. Over to England.
And Bayless not fouling yet, and there's the foul call.
Harris has been physical all night long, but he hasn't gotten a whole lot of fouls. That's only his 3rd. Excuse me. I'll misspeak once again, give it his 4th. So that physical play has cost him. I was about ready to say with 1:44, 3 fouls, not too bad. 4th foul, that's dangerous. That's almost now 3 starters that could be fouling out before this one's over.
And the Knights down the stretch as Logan England hits another free throw, doing exactly the opposite of what they did against Cape Central, where they couldn't buy a shot from the line. And now they can't miss as Eli Pratt hit 2 just a moment ago. DJ Hardy hit 2, and now Logan England hits 2 more.
Triplet going fast, and that's what's going to have to be the case from now on for the Broncos. Hardy with the ball. He's looking down court, a 2-on-3 situation. England going to hold on to it instead. Amazing. Amazing. 1:28 on the clock, and the Knights being as smart as possible with this one. Pratt with the ball. He goes down, gets the shot up. It falls.
It's on the floor.
No shot.
He'll still shoot 2.
Still shoot 2. He'll go to the line. The Knights with a 14-point lead, 1:22 on the clock. And if you're going to send anyone to the line, Pratt's not been a bad one. And, you know, for the rest of this game, I'm going to bring the crowd mic up a little bit. I'm going to let you listen to the 6th man down the stretch as they chant M-I-Z-Z-O-U.
Speaking with Callahan for just a minute about winning this game, he almost couldn't get the words out of his mouth. He gets a little emotional every time he talks about it, coaching these guys for so long, working with them ever since they were young kids playing basketball here at the Civic Center. And now, as Eli Pratt hits 2 more free throws.
Pratt is just flat out stroking it from the line. 7 in a row has went in by the senior.
Triplett hits a deep 3 with a hand in his face, and the lead 13 with just over a minute to play.
You know, I'll definitely say that when you're looking at these 2 stars from Bayless, they have been impressive tonight. No doubt Mehmetovic was a great player in the post. Triplett has hit some tremendous pull-up shots time and time again. You've got 2 very talented athletes. The problem is there's not a whole lot around them. We haven't seen a whole lot from any other player. You saw a little bit from Pulo. At times, he got 6 points. Give the Knights another free throw, and I would be interested to see how many in a row that is. I don't have it here. There's been a few misses here in a row, but they've hit a ton of free throws down the stretch.
Hit 2. Eli Pratt has hit 4, excuse me. Logan England hit 2, and now he's hit 2 in a row. So that would be 8, excuse me.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. After the other night, there's no way you could have thought that the Knights could do this kind of thing from the line. 53-38. We've got seconds now on the clock. Jonah Barnes with the rebound. Knights coming down hard, and England gets fouled in the process. Ends up pulling off a fancy little pass. Hardy goes ahead and finishes, and the 6th man enjoying that. 50.2 on the clock.
Well, and the thing that was almost their undoing at Cape Central now as Logan England finally breaks the streak. The thing that was almost their undoing is free throw shooting has been the thing that has really iced the game here as Bayless has scored a little bit here in the 4th quarter, but Farmington has been able to hit their free throws, and there's only 45 seconds left now. 45 seconds from Mizzou.
Pratt gets the ball, gets it across. A quick foul, but all the way down the court. Hardy's going to put it in for 2!
And that'll do it.
You talk about sealing it and nailing it shut. DJ Hardy with a wide open look. Extends it out to the Knights' largest lead, 18 points. Triplett deep, no good. Rebounded by the Broncos, scrims around, and Knights get it back once again. Throw it down court to Callahan.
And everyone's on their feet here as Coach Callahan can't hardly contain himself.
And Hardy figures, why not add a little bit to the night? 58-38, the 6th man going crazy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it to the Knights. They're going to the Final Four.
And I'm sure it's taken everything that they've got for the 6th man to contain themselves from charging the court, as our head football coach and the assistant principal are right at the steps holding them in.
And just as you say that, one of the parents makes their way out onto the court. And several of the Knights administrators scrambling around, and the Knights will give a quick bow over to the 6th man. What an amazing game by this team tonight. Absolutely amazing. What we've seen time and time again here at the end of the year now between these past 2 games, the Knights just doing all the right things. And this time around, they did the ultimate thing, and that was sinking their free throws. And as you can see, some of the 6th men stripping some clothing off and showing their Black Knight pride with that MIZZOU chant.
I don't believe I have seen since the second half of the game against Central in the district championship game, I have not seen a team execute any better than the Farmington Knights have over these last 2.5 games. They have played to perfection when it comes to their game plan, and even when it comes to you look at Triplett and Mehmetovic, who did score, but they didn't get anything easy all night long, and that's the key. They didn't get anything easy.
And the 6th man once again making noise for this team, and I'll say it time and time again, the 6th man definitely making their presence known tonight. It's been absolutely wonderful. Several of these kids have been out here since early this afternoon. tailgating over in Junior parking lot. If you tune us in to FHS Night Vision YouTube, you'll see some of the highlight footage. And now some of the Knights going into the stands.
I got 2 free brats earlier. It was a pretty tremendous time out there.
What I'll say real quick is the Knights need to be careful going up in there. They've got hopefully 2 more games left to go, but no doubt it'll be difficult going forward. Typically, you want to say that it's going to get harder each game along the way. Cape was definitely difficult. This game a little bit easier, and we talked about that. You know, we talked about it before the Cape game. If the Knights make it past Cape, it could be a little bit easier there in that quarterfinal round than it's going to be against Cape, and that ended up being the case. Surprisingly, when you look at 2 players that are nearly averaging double-doubles on the season, you know, there's just several things that you look at and absolutely speechless.
Well, and I think as they give sort of an homage to the rest of the crowd here who's been here cheering pretty loudly all night, including most of the Knights' families. And I think the key, even in the Cape Central game, what we talked about over and over again is the Knights could not hit a free throw, not only down the stretch, but their percentage was just awful. And I believe that's the difference tonight. As you look down in the 3rd and 4th quarters, the Knights began to hit their free throws.
What's the difference on making it comfortable at the end, especially? You know, if the Knights miss those, we get more and more uncomfortable. Tonight, it just got more comfortable as it went on, and that was definitely because of the free throws.
Well, if you look at the Cape Central game, though, especially coming down the stretch, if they make some of those free throws, then that game, instead of it being a 2 or a 3-point game, it turns into a 9 or 10-point game.
And we're going to go ahead and wrap things up, and the reason for that is because if you tune into our, if you turn over onto our Nightlife Online site, you'll be able to read an article about tonight's games, and we'll also give you a few audio interviews of some of tonight's key players, and no doubt about it, Eli Pratt will be one of those, along with Logan England, the 2 of them really hitting their free throws down the stretch. And we might even grab a parent or 2, and definitely we'll have Coach Callahan talking about how special it is to have this team that he's coached since all the way back when they were in elementary school. So tonight, bringing you tonight's game, Aaron Murray alongside with Marcus Archer and the director-producer, I'll give her that title tonight, my wife Whitney Murray, alongside the broadcast tonight. It's her first ever time. She did a pretty good job.
Whitney Murray.
She did a pretty good job making sure that the score stayed updated there at the top. And beautiful to bring this one to you. I enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed watching here on FHS Night Vision YouTube. Thank you.